Charlie Black, who's the main advisor running the McCain campaign, said last week that a terrorist attack on this country would actually help John McCain. A lot of people kind of took a deep breath on that one.
Well, I did too, and so did John McCain. You know, Charlie's a real pro, and sometimes even the best of them say things that are not what they intended to say. Certainly the implications there, I know, were not what Charlie intended, and he apologized for it. Senator McCain said he didn't agree, and of course I feel the same way. But here's the point. We're in a war against Islamist extremists who attacked us on 9/11. They've been trying to attack us many, many ways since then. We've been very fortunate as a result of 9/11 reform legislation, which Senator McCain championed, a lot of good work by people who work for our country, that hasn't happened. But we need a president who's ready to be commander-in-chief on day one. Senator McCain is. Incidentally, Senator Clinton said that over and over again, and she was right. She was ready to be president on day one. Why? Because our enemies will test the new president early. Remember that the truck bombing of the World Trade Center happened in the first year of the Clinton administration. 9/11 happened in the first year of the Bush administration. John McCain is ready to take the reins on January 20th, 2009. He doesn't need any training.
Let me ask you about the deal that the administration announced last week with North Korea. They said they will take North Korea off the list of states that sponsor terrorism. That will clear the way to begin some sort of economic aid and fuel oil to North Korea in return for them handing over sort of a history of their nuclear things, the things that they've been doing to develop nuclear weapons. They did blow up that cooling tower. Is this a good deal, bad deal? What do you make of it?
Well, look, it's hopeful, Bob, and I think Senator McCain feels the same way, this agreement with the North Koreans. But honestly, we're not going to know whether this was a significant step forward or not for about 5 years, because it's only the beginning. And the truth is that the North Koreans made only a partial disclosure of what they had promised. Yes, they told us what they've done with plutonium to make bombs. They haven't really told us about how many bombs they have, and they haven't told us what they've done with uranium. Pretty odd that at the same time that we had this partial agreement with them, we found residue of uranium on some of the documents they gave us, and that's what you use for highly enriched uranium bombs. They haven't told us anything about proliferation, as in the case of the atomic plant in Syria. They got a lot of work to do, but it's a beginning. And I'd say what the North Koreans, if I may paraphrase President Reagan, you got to mistrust and verify. This is an agreement that the next president, with a combination of strength and a willingness and an intention to improve our relations with North Korea, will have to carry forward. And of course I believe John McCain has both of those capabilities. Our enemies in the world will fear and respect John McCain. Our allies will trust and like him.
Let me ask you a little bit about the Supreme Court. The court reminded us this week that it is moving more to the right. It threw out the handgun ban here in the District of Columbia. Most people think the next president is going to appoint two justices to the Supreme Court. You're pro-choice. John McCain is not pro-choice. Are you going to be, or doesn't that concern you a little bit that he may be willing to appoint justices who will overturn Roe v. Wade?
Well, John and I have a good faith disagreement on that, and I think we respect each other's positions. In a way, part of why I'm supporting John McCain, obviously I agree with him on big issues like foreign and defense policy, climate change, lobbying and ethics reform. But where we disagree, that's the point. It's time that people who disagree get together for the benefit of the country. We got to forget our loyalty to the Democrat, Republican Party. We got to put our loyalty to America. Look, the Supreme Court made some interesting decisions the last 2 weeks. Not all of them went to the right. You might say that in conventional terms, the establishment of the individual right to handgun ownership went to the right, but the decision in the habeas corpus case, you might say, went to the left. The decision invalidating the death penalty case in case of a rape of a minor, you might say, went to the left. Here's the important thing about Senator McCain. He's against judicial activists. He's a conservative. He's not an extremist. By his leadership, the Senate preserved, in the so-called Gang of 14, the 60-vote requirement for confirming justices of the Supreme Court. And to me, that means whether you think they're liberal or conservative, They're not going to be too far from the center.
All right.
And that's where we need them to be.
Joe Lieberman, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
coming.
Bob.